having to get this information from the mainstream press. People in the United States are completely unaware of this. If I go out and talk about this, the United States press will attack me. Everything that we're looking at now is destined to collapse our economies.
But I fear after this week that this identity politics has become so entrenched in our Western culture that it has too strong a pull on a minority, but a significant minority of people. And what identity politics does is divide people into tribes. It tells it, what your characteristic of who you are. It's not about your individual circumstances or your individual actions. It's about your race or your gender or your sexuality. And what we're seeing here now in the US is tribal warfare. When you divide people into tribes, you get tribal warfare, and it's a terrible outcome. And let's God hope that this type of politics does not become entrenched in our country.
But it's not enough for many. This is a nation in crisis, rattled by dysfunction.
So a couple of days ago, Grant Napier, he is the Sacramento Kings NBA announcer, a legend there, been there forever. And he came out and he tweeted, "All lives matter, every single one." He's now been fired and is out of a job after years, and an institution in that area. Can you say all lives matter without saying black lives don't matter? I mean, don't all lives matter?
I'm confused why they would get upset about that, but everybody want to be politically correct right now because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I want to tell people out there who's going to be a leader. Being a leader, everyone is not going to agree with you. Being a leader, sometimes you got to take a stand that a lot of people are going to be hurt, but you know what? It's got to be the right stand. And I think that's what you have to realize. But that's what I'm talking about. Being a leader, sometimes you have to do things a lot of people disagree with. Well, all he said is all lives matter, which...
Now, before we get to that and to answer yourself, context. As a country, we really do need to find a better way to argue. And I'd really like us to get back to responding to opinions we don't like, not with abuse or violence and whatever, but with argument, with reason.
This is given, but the pick and choose nature of the media and the rioting.
In Los Angeles, National Guard, who look like they're dressed for the battlefield, have patrolled a stretch of Hollywood Boulevard normally frequented by tourists and celebrities.
The fabric of America is fraying.
Back up!
A nation on edge after days of discord.
In the Greek capital, what started out as a peaceful protest against racism turned violent. Demonstrators hurled firebombs at riot police outside the US Embassy. Police responded with tear gas. There were similar scenes in Stockholm. Police used pepper spray to push back some protesters who had approached the royal palace.
As outrage spreads over the killing of George Floyd in the US, protesters have taken to the streets around the world.
A show of fury in Guadalajara.
I work for Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry that I scared you. But since I work for that company, my CEO has told me to come out today and to bring you on your knees because you have white privilege. So if they see that a white person is getting on their knees, that shows solidarity for the situation. And could you just please apologize for your white privilege? Just apologize?
I am. I'm trying to think of the right words to say because that's a big thing to say.
It's big.
It comes from.
It's large in this country.
I'm incredibly sorry.
I just want you to see in my eyes how sorry I am for the comments that I made yesterday. I know that it hurt many people, especially friends, teammates, former teammates, loved ones, people that I care and respect deeply.
The Saints star quarterback referring to this Wednesday interview with Yahoo Finance.
I will never agree with anybody disrespecting the flag of the United States of America.
Breeze said players shouldn't protest police brutality and racial injustice during the national anthem.
The new turmoil in the NFL, many star players are now speaking out, saying the new apology from Drew Brees is not enough.
like former player Booger McFarland, who appeared to mock him. "I'm sorry for the way that America is crucifying me. I'm not sorry for what I said." Got it. New York Giants safety Jabril Peppers writing, "No, we heard you the first time."
Players on his own team responded poorly, and he was trending on Twitter with many football fans calling for him to retire. Breeze now says he wants to do more to help.
And Drew Brees still doesn't seem to get it. Now, he issued an apology, Skip, but it's meaningless because the guys know that he spoke his heart the very first time around.
Correct.
Now, I don't know what Drew's going to do, but he probably should just go ahead and retire now. It will never be the same.
For the past 400 years stemming from slavery, there has been a genocide of black people in this country.
I'm sick and tired of seeing black men and women be killed and nothing be done about it.
We had a black man in the office, bro. They were still killing us, bro.
Stop killing us! Stop killing us! Stop killing us!
Breeze angering fellow players and fans, some burning his jersey. He apologized the next day.
I wish I would have laid out what was on my heart.
But after fierce backlash from fellow teammates and other athletes like LeBron James, Breeze posted this apology on Instagram.
He has come out, Herschel, and he has issued an apology for this stance. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. And let me tell you the reason why. Why is people upset that he has an opinion? Just because he don't believe in what you believe in, why is people upset about that? That's what's great about America is we got a right to choose. And if that's the way he feels, it's okay that he feels like that. I said early on, my feelings were, if you have a problem with, I don't know whether the flag, I don't know whether that was the reason, but if you want to kneel, you're at your job. I'm just shocked that people be upset with him, and now he has to apologize because he has an opinion. And that's what it's sad. Why in the world can people not have an opinion today that they disagree with you, and if you disagree with someone, Glenn, you're going to be called a racist. If I disagree with someone, I'm going to be called an Uncle Tom. And I'm like, geez, that means that I can't think for myself? Can I not think for myself, right, please? That's the reason I think.
In America's schools, the revolution has been in progress for quite some time. Rochester School District in New York has created a Black Lives Matter themed lesson plan. The teaching materials dismiss America's bedrock institutions, indeed America itself, as inherently racist. Suggested questions for students include, how does mass incarceration function as a mechanism of racialized social control? One specific racial group is singled out for exclusive blame. The curriculum promotes a book entitled White Rage, the Unspoken Truth of Our Racial Divide. In other words, children, there's a reason hatred and inequality exist. These people did it. That's what your kids are learning right now. That's not an overstatement.
In Salt Lake City, a man targets protesters with a bow and arrow. In Chicago, police officers are dragged through the streets. But trust has eroded on every side of this battle. A police car drives into a crowd.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No. It's about every single black person in this country who has been systematically oppressed.
Yesterday at Darien High School in Connecticut, Principal Ellen Dunn sent an email to parents in which she promised to increase the, quote, race-conscious education of our students. In order to achieve that, Dunn distributed materials from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, ironically, the Southern Poverty Law Center is itself a hate group that has been documented extensively, but now their agenda is the school's agenda. It's what your kids are learning.
It seems like civility and stability has been abandoned from coast to coast.
I'm sad. I'm heartbroken. This is I've lived through this before. It's been in this department for 38 years, and I prayed that we'd never be back in this type of situation.
We watched the turmoil unfold on the president's doorstep.
Let's go! Everybody move back! Move back!
Nothing like this has happened outside the White House in recent memory.
In Washington, D.C., an elementary school principal in the affluent northwest section of the city recently wrote a letter announcing that, quote, "We need more white parents to talk to their kids about race, especially now." The letter singled out, quote, white staff and white community members, whom the principal alleged had committed, quote, both macro and microaggressions against staff of color. The principal did not specify what those crimes were. She didn't need to. This is a national theme. It pains us to tell you that, but it's true. Countless school districts are now using the 1619 Project from the New York Times, for example, as a curriculum.
Who are we? How did we get to this place?
The governor pointing out police have been targeted too, like this officer struck in the head with a brick. Police say it's why this officer then pulled out his gun. Over 11 days of protests across the country, hundreds of police injured, at least 5 shot during clashes with protesters. Still, every day a test for officers, aggressive tactics under the microscope. Police in LA investigating this video, showing officers allegedly firing rubber bullets at a group of teens out after curfew.
Sir, why am I entertained?
And tonight, incidents before George Floyd's death now under investigation.
Got your knee on my man's neck.
In Sarasota, this officer on leave after these images surfaced showing him kneeling on a man's neck in May. And in Tacoma, Washington, police investigating this video posted on Facebook showing the violent takedown of Manuel Ellis back in March. His death now ruled a homicide. The 33-year-old reportedly yelling at one point, "I can't breathe," before police say they tried to help him and called medics.
We want answers. No more talking.
And the officers who committed this crime should be fired and prosecuted.
But 2 crises are convulsing in America.
Former UGA quarterback Jake Fromm has apologized for what he said in a 2019 text message chain. That conversation posted today on Twitter. In one exchange, he mentioned wanting to buy gun parts and said, quote, "They need to make them very expensive so only elite white people can get them." Shortly after the messages went up, Fromm put out a statement on Twitter apologizing and said he wasn't referring to himself as an elite white person. He said he stands with those fighting racism and addressed the issue with his team, the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, once again, what the heck is this in the sky turning colors? I don't know. There's purple, the reds, green to blue. Same thing, same area that it was last week. I mean, I don't understand. There's no tall buildings over there with colors on them. You know, it's very easy to project that into the sky and make it look like it's something. And then with the technology they have now, it's very easy for them to create holograms to make it seem as if there's spaceships in the sky, to create sounds in your head. This is all technology that is available. What is that? Oh my goodness. It's a car.
It's like a giant monster in the sky. Oh, raining. Oh my goodness, can you feel the wind?
Is that Jesus Christ? Please. Please, my Father. Mom, es un hombre. Es un hombre. Yes, Mom. But it went behind the tree and I can't see it no more. Oh no, it's right there. Hello?
strange sounds are being heard around the world. In Sweden, this sure sounds like a trumpet. In Michigan, another trumpet-like sound.
Ultimately, I cut the power to the entire house, and the sound got louder.
Then he discovered he was not alone.
This is in fact a worldwide phenomenon, and I'm calling it the worldwide hum.
Just have a listen to this. So what are you hearing? Well, we don't really know. The strange sounds were heard across Terrace, BC early yesterday morning and lasted for about 10 minutes. Speculation about what caused it ranges from the aurora borealis to aliens, or it could just be a prank. But similar sounds have been recorded in other parts of BC and reported in other locations around the world.
People have been recording strange noises like this one in Kiev for some time now. Videos filmed all over the world have appeared on YouTube, the first in summer last year. But no one's really sure what they're hearing. Speculation ranges from cloaked UFOs to military testing, to experiments by HAARP, a US research project that studies the ionosphere. Not since the crop circles of the 1980s, though, has the online community been so excited by a series of unexplained events. But often as phenomena like this increase in notoriety, they can become subject to hoaxing.